My name is Wilma Smit, and I am a member of the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation of South Africa. And on Monday, the 20th of June, it will be World FSHD Day. That's short for facioscapular humeral muscular dystrophy. It took me a while to get that right. It's quite a mouthful. But here with us today is Wilma Smit, she's been diagnosed with FSHD, and she's here to talk about her experiences. Hi, Wilma. How are you?
Hi, Marina's fine, and you?
Good. Let's start at the beginning. How and when were you diagnosed with FSHD?
Well, if you speak to some of the people, some people have been diagnosed when they were very young, but unfortunately with us, that didn't happen. So when we were children, you realized you're different from other children, but actually didn't think you are, because at the end of the day, you think that, well, we all are different. So things we couldn't do, we didn't think about. So when I was in my 20s, my sister was already diagnosed by then. They did a biopsy and they then diagnosed her with FSHD. And I had an incident and had to go and see a neurologist in Pretoria. And when he saw me, the first question he asked, and that had nothing to do with muscular disease. He said to me, "Do we have that in the family?" And then he did a few tests, and he then, not formally, but diagnosed me with muscular disease, not at that stage FSHD as such. When we became part of the FSHD Society in South Africa, and we met Dr. Peter Jones, and we were quite a few people that they sent us test tubes, and we then, in our family, especially on my mom's side, we were quite a few, even my children, we had random people in the family. We sent through the test tubes, and he then sent us our, to tell us that we have FSHD. And I
that's
then,
the genetic testing. So that's genetic testing.
The genetic testing, yeah. Yes. He did the genetic testing.
Oh,
so I went to see Dr. Natanya Fourie. She is a neurologist in Wilgers, at Wilgers Hospital, in February. And she did other tests on me, and with the genetic testing, she actually did a formal diagnosis. But then at the end of the day, if you have like insurances or stuff like that, you still have to go for the biopsy. I know in America, Peter told us they don't do the biopsies anymore. But my son needs to go next week for his biopsy. So formal diagnosis for me, it was with the genetic testing of Peter, and then the one that Natanya did on me in February.
Yes.
She said there's no doubt in her mind when she tests me to know, that it is FSHD1. And yes, that's basically, if you go and look at the being diagnosed. In a young stage, and even if I look at my son, when he was smaller as well, he also knew when the guys are playing rugby, it was a bit more difficult for him. He also walked on his toes, so we sent him to a doctor in Pretoria, and they actually assisted him by then. I think he was in grade 2.
Okay.
But, diagnosis came very late.
Yes.
It's not like some people. I know Gerda Brown told us that hers was very early, and ours is very late.
Okay.
But yes.
Okay. So, I mean, with all the types of muscular dystrophy, including mine, there's this broader prognosis, but then it's also very individualistic, right? So what can you tell us about your specific progression so far?
I think my progression became a bit more aggressive, I think, in my late 30s. Because we were only diagnosed so late, a lot of things that happened with me during my lifetime, we so used to living with this that you just thought, okay, these things are just like natural. Because even after I saw the doctor and he said, and my sister was diagnosed, with my children, childbirths, there were difficulties, but I didn't think it had something to do with the muscles, Bladder problems when we were small, I had a bladder problem. My parents had to take me to a doctor eventually, and he put me on little pillows and said, "Now you just have to work on it and get your bladder bigger and stronger, or whatever." Not realizing, but still with it, getting into the FSHD community, asking them, "Who of you had bladder problems?" Because we didn't associate it with the FSHD. But I think for me, in my late 30s, I started becoming weaker, difficulty walking and lifting things in, up. I can't pick up boxes and stuff like that. So in my mind, I do things on my own. So at work, I had to start realizing that people are trying to help me all the time. And I'm not 100% sure why they're doing this. Sorry, because I felt that I can still do a lot of things myself. Then in my 40s, it became worse. And now in my middle 50s, it's hectic because walking has become very difficult. Going places, doing things for yourself. When I go to a shop, people will tell me, I'll ask them, bring me a shopping cart. But anyway, a lot of things just started progressing. And if I look at my family members, my brother, I've got one brother and 3 sisters. We differ. We all walk difficult, the walking difficulty, falling a lot, and things like that. But I've got other issues, like I've got issues with my neck, and I've got issues with my knees, and doctors are just afraid to operate on you or assist you. But on my progression, I'm afraid of what's going to happen next, because I was too afraid to start using the cane.
Yes.
But then I had some bad falls, so I realized you need to do this, even if people look at you. My children last year decided, no, Mom, you need something else to help you, like a little scooter, which they gave me.
Yes.
And that was fantastic because for the first time this year, I could go on holiday and join them when they go places.
Marvelous. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So there's a lot of things that's starting to happen with me. Fortunately for me, when I was tested by Dr. Fourie, she said my hands are still very strong.
Yes.
I've got lots of weakness in my arms, but my grip is still good. So the job I do, the work I currently do, I can still do until that becomes a problem.
Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, a lot of the things that you're telling me sounds so familiar. And I've experienced them in my progression as well. How does, I mean, you've talked about your work now, but how does FSHD affect all the different aspects in your life, including work, relaxation, your family and your friends, and relationship with the people around you?
I think I'm fortunate. I think we are a bit fortunate because so many of our family members have the same disease.
Yeah.
So the support is different. I don't know. You just do things. I don't think that it's affected me that with relationships. Yes. Because what I found is that people are, and that was the difficult with me to accept, is that everybody wants to help you. It's very difficult for me to accept. My children told me the other day, Mom, you were so used to doing everything for everyone else, and now it's difficult for you to let other people help you. You must start realizing that you need to start accepting help from others. And I think with my relationships, I appreciate people because in the play, I stay in Brits, and if I go to the shops, people know me. And I've got people that help me. They will come bring me a card, and then I'll go into the shop. So they wait for me, pack my stuff, and take it back to the vehicle. I've got places people know me, and I've accepted that that there are people that want to help me. In my house setup, I think it's difficult for my husband because he's got a heart disease, and he had a huge quadruple bypass last year, October. And I still had to help him with that. But then I think we realized that we actually need one another. So now he's strong again. So he's now, back to helping me to get where I need to be.
Yes, that support
I don't think it's
is very, very, very important.
With my work, I was fortunate. Before COVID, my occupational therapist made a motivation that I start working from home, because I used to drive from Brits to Rustenburg every day.
Sure.
And that is tiring.
Yeah.
And I have to get out of the vehicle, full in front of my workplace, get up. Nobody can help you to get up because you have to do it yourself. Go into my workplace, and then this afternoon you have to come back. Don't move anywhere. So yes, sometimes you're excluded. If they've got things going on, you're excluded. We're going, yay, we're all going to the Rustenburg, to Johannesburg Zoo. Okay, what are you going to do with me? I'll have to sit for 2-3 hours under a tree while you guys are going through the place because I don't have anything and I can't move.
Yeah.
So, but they then didn't want to assist me at that stage. And then COVID came and we were at home for 2 years. And then in this year, after Natanya then diagnosed me and stuff, our insurer, which is Momentum, then said, no, let's accommodate her from home till she retires. So I'm fortunate to be at home every day. It's sometimes lonely because I was used to sitting in an office, in an open space office with lots of people, and now you are not included anymore.
Yes.
But it's a blessing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a blessing. So I don't know with you, but with relationships, I feel that people accept me. I just don't think that people really know what muscular dystrophy is.
Yes.
If you don't feel it in your body and you don't know how tiring it is and how painful it is, June one day said if you have to describe it, it's very painful. And not every day. In my 40s, if people said, is it painful? Then I would say no, but now it's a different story.
Yes. And it's the understanding of that's lacking, because I mean you can appreciate that people don't, if it's not on your radar, you don't have someone that in your life that has it, they wouldn't understand. And that's why it's important to do awareness campaigns and so on. But how do you deal with daily challenges? I mean, you say that acceptance is something that you have, which is a big thing. Acceptance is a huge thing. Once I've met many people that you can't force someone to use a assistive device like a scooter. But once you've done that, and I know I've been there, then you know what freedom is, or a little bit better freedom is. But how do you say acceptance is important, but how do you cope with the daily challenges in life? What keeps you going? What advice do you have to stay positive for those of us who have muscular dystrophy?
I think it's not any challenge that I get in life is always in the beginning, I need to work on, like you say, that acceptance of what I need to deal with every day. And I think my progression now, some days I do find it difficult, with my knees being so painful. I need to use the scooter more regularly to get me to places but then if I want to prepare supper, it's very difficult to do that. And just this thing in my mind now of, if I'm thinking of people that are permanently in a wheelchair, that have no other way of doing things. It's not like me that I can still walk. It's difficult, but I can still do it. Then this thing comes to my mind. How am I going to do it in the next 2, 3, 4 years from now? It's not easy to make food for your family if you are in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So acceptance is not always possible. So and this is a thing with me. It's always been like that. I'm fortunate that I'm not a depression. I don't have depression.
Yes.
I do the Neurica that Dr. Fourie gave me. It is a bit of a mood stabilizer. So it does help me to, just because she says I've got permanent spasms in my neck. So it does help me with that little coping. And I know it helps me cope, to just get through every day. Because I am afraid of the future.
Yes.
But like you start using the aids that you get. My sister's she's got everything that possibly can help her to get in and out the bath, that to help her get up if she falls, to help her get to a vehicle, get into a vehicle when she's got the zippy coming out. I mean, these are all expensive
Yes.
stuff, tools, but at the end of the day, I'm preparing myself for what's going to happen in the future. But with my personality, it is a bit difficult.
Yes.
But you know what? Like I said, with us that have so many people around us with the same thing. And then sometimes when I get very depressed about it, then I meet someone else that's worse off than me. And I think that makes me grateful for, okay, I got this. I need to deal with this.
Yes.
So, and I think also, you know, talking to people, okay, sometimes that cannot be a good thing. Eh? If I'm going to talk to other FSHD people that are, oh, I'm in my 50s and I'm already in a wheelchair, it can work on your mind and stuff like that. But, you know what? I've got the support.
The wheelchair is a big thing. I mean, I remember when I was this many years ago, there's a phase where you have to get a wheelchair. You don't want to. You're fighting it with everything in your and then, but the thing is, what I found, and that's been, it's sure, how long is it ago? 2005 that I've been in a wheelchair. So you get there, and then you, as you say, you have to deal with it, and then the next challenge comes along, and you have to deal with it. It's, you know, muscular dystrophy is full of surprises. And it's also, but it's also serious. I mean, I have humor about it, but on the other hand, it's also serious. But it doesn't help to wallow in depression, or you have to take each challenge, as you say, and that's excellent. That's really a great attitude that you have.